There was a Silverado engine so good that GM itself preferred to bury it, rather than let it compete with their own products. A V8 that combined fuel economy, insane durability, and enough torque to humiliate much larger engines. And today, I'm going to reveal why GM did everything to make sure you never knew it existed. If you're one of those who believes automakers always want to sell you the best possible product, prepare to have your mind blown. Because sometimes they create something so perfect that it becomes a problem for their own business plans. And before revealing this industrial secret, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because here we're not afraid to speak the truths that automakers prefer to hide. Let's go. Folks, the engine GM hid isn't something that never existed. Actually, it was right in front of our eyes the whole time. It's the 5.3L Ecotec 3 L83, but in the version that should have reached the end consumer. Let me explain this madness. In 2014, GM launched the new generation of the 5.3, promising revolutionary economy with the AFM system, active fuel management. On paper, it was perfect. A V8 that became a V4 when it didn't need full power. 20% fuel savings, they said. The problem? AFM was a time bomb in disguise. Lifter problems, premature cam wear, absurd oil consumption. But here's where it gets interesting. GM knew AFM was problematic. That's why, in commercial fleet versions and some specific configurations, they sold the same 5.3L L83 engine without AFM. Completely mechanical engine. Straightforward like the old ones, but with all the modern technology. Direct injection, advanced electronic management, optimized heads, but without all that AFM complication. The result? The most reliable engine GM made in the 2010s. And they hid this from the general public. I have a buddy who works at a dealership in rural Texas. He told me that the heavy-duty Silverados without AFM that arrived there were fought over by the employees themselves. Everyone knew that was pure gold. Think about it. If GM openly offered the option to buy the 5.3 without AFM, who the hell would want to pay more for the problematic, economical version? Nobody. But they had a problem. EPA fuel economy targets. AFM was necessary to pass consumption tests. So they played a double game. They sold the problematic version to regular consumers saying it was better, and reserved the good version for fleets that couldn't afford to have vehicles sitting in the shop. It's the perfect definition of planned obsolescence disguised as innovation. While 2014-2019 Silverados with AFM started having problems at 120,000 miles, the versions without AFM easily reached 300,000 miles without major dramas. Same base, same construction, but completely different reliability. And the most bizarre part, practically equal fuel economy in real life. AFM only worked well in EPA-controlled tests. In the real world, driving for real, the difference was 0.5 to 1 miles in EPG. Practically nothing. Here's where it gets complicated, for those who don't know what to look for. GM didn't mark these versions, obviously. You had to know the specific codes. Silverado 2500 HD with 5.3 engine. Very rare. Only some specific years. Fleet versions with RPO code L83 but without AFM. Some specific WT work truck configurations. Certain versions exported to markets that didn't require AFM. The most reliable identification? On the OBD2 scanner, these versions don't show AFM-related codes. It's literally like the system doesn't exist. Around 2018-2019, specialist mechanics started discovering how to permanently disable AFM on regular versions. Delete kits, ECU reprogramming, the aftermarket exploded. GM got furious. They started making reprogramming more difficult, changed protocols, even threatened some kit manufacturers. Why? Because they were losing money on unnecessary warranties, and customers realized they'd been deceived. Want to know the funniest part? In 2022, GM finally admitted defeat. They launched the new 5.3L for 2022 plus Silverados without factory AFM. Marketing? Focused on durability and reliability. Translation. Sorry folks, you were right all along. That system was shit. If you want to get your hands on one of these relics, look for Silverado 2500 HD 2015-2019 with 5.3 engine, rare, but they exist. Specific fleet WT versions that were sold to the public, examples that already had AFM professionally deleted, exported models re-imported, more common in the South. Prices: a 2016-2018 with this engine is worth between $25,000 to $35,000 today. 3 years ago, it was worth $18,000 to $22,000. The appreciation is constant because those who know. This story of GM's hidden engine teaches one thing: innovation isn't always better than tested simplicity. And sometimes automakers know exactly what works, but choose not to offer it for reasons that have nothing to do with benefiting the customer. The 5.3 L83 without AFM could have been the perfect solution: modern, reliable, efficient. But then how would GM sell replacement parts? How would they force early replacements? How would they justify the prices of more expensive engines? So, there's the secret GM preferred to hide. They always knew how to make reliable engines in the modern era. They just chose not to offer this openly because it wasn't financially interesting. And you, did you already know this story? Know any of these forbidden engines? Or have experience with AFM delete? Tell us in the comments, because this is one of the hottest discussions in the Silverado world. If this video opened your eyes to how automakers really work, hit that like button. That really helps the channel continue revealing these uncomfortable truths. Next week, I'm going to tell you about another engine that an American automaker tried to hide. But this one was much worse. A V8 that literally self-destructed and cost billions in lawsuits. See you then.